Welcome everyone, welcome to week 2, our drawing programme of my art classes this summer. Our subject for investigation this week is cutlery in a jar. More about that in a moment. And our medium is ballpoint pen. So nothing more grand, just a common garden ballpoint. I won't mention the makes, but they're all sorts. We've all got them. We've all got them in our bags at home, in our drawers. They lay about, and there are more sophisticated. You might like to work with one of these high definition, highlighting, fine lining, whatever they're called, turbo driven, high precision, 21st century inventions. Fantastic, just the same. But one thing common about both types is that it's black. We're going to use black ink for this drawing. That's specific. Good. We may need some correction fluid, one of those commercial correction fluids that you typists might have used. If we can't get any of that at the moment, maybe a bit of white acrylic paint can be used in the same sort of way. And apart from paper, a good quality cartridge, that's it really for medium and materials. And why the subject? Well, the subject in sort of relation to the medium. Well, I think certainly in these times, sometimes we're a bit pressed for material mediums. We have to sort of improvise. Now, the black biros are ubiquitous. We find it everywhere. And quite often we find ourselves doodling with it. So let's use it. Let's experiment with it as a drawing tool. This black ink pushed through a ballpoint, and it's high precision, isn't it? It's a 20th century invention. The technology is that ballpoint, that little ball bearing held in a position that allows the ink through in its charge, and it's steel. It's high tensile steel, and there is our subject. Our subject's the same. It's cutlery. I want you to use steel cutlery. Again, found at home, really easy, and an empty beaker. It could be a glass, it could be, these are jars, but something that hasn't got too much patination, and certainly no graphics, no typography, labelling. A clear vessel, glass specifically. Some of you might have a type of plastic, that's okay. And we're going to put an array of cutlery in there. This is the one I'm going to be working for the demo, and I'm going to just make it a little bit more interesting. I'm going to put in some water too. Look, like that, some water. So that's going to have not only the steel and the reflective steel quality, not only the glass relating to that, but also refraction. We've got reflections and we've got refraction because of that water. Now, if you're a beginner, a starter with us, then perhaps you may decline. You may think, okay, I won't complicate things too much. I might leave the water out. That's fine, absolutely fine. It'd be really nice if you can organise your own subject from things at home. You've found your medium, your material you're going to work with. If you could fashion something like this at home, it'd be really nice for you to work with. If not, that's fine. Look at my resource page. You'll find this very subject along with 3 others that you can choose from. One's a bit tough. It's got quite a lot going on in it, but for experienced returned graduates, go for it. And the last thing I'd think you to do is place it on a stable background. Look, white. This white paper. There it is against the white paper, and a white background. You can just sort of loop a piece of paper up so you can see it in all its clarity. I think that's quite a good plan. We don't want many interruptions, things to confuse us in the background or complicate the drawing. So I think we've found our inspiration. We've got our materials medium to work with. Let's start some drawing. So everyone, we've got to start some drawing with our black biro, but just before that, before we start that drawing with the ballpoint pen, I'd like just to revise or instruct once again on one of the challenges of this drawing at the start is the jar, and specifically its ellipse. We've got to deal with this ellipse as it's turned away from us. circle, this concentric circle, becomes that ellipse, and that's what we've got to somehow deal with. So specific to this, let's do a little bit of a demo. And really, for starter beginners, I would use pencil at the start of this drawing. Some of the graduate returners may be confident enough to go straight in with the ballpoint, the black ink. That's entirely up to you, but no harm in doing a little bit of pencil work to begin with. Let's just instruct a little bit on drawing an ellipse. As last class, let's make a vertical. Yeah, we've got an axis. That's where my jar is going to rest. That's where it's going to be, in centre of the sheet. And that is my centre line. It's a guide. And I'm going to now put another line about here, about a third of the way down the page. Look, third of the way down the page. It's perpendicular, it's flat. It's a horizontal line. Do you see that? Construction line. There's the centre, so it's perpendicular. There, do you see? It's straight to that. So what's that about? Well, on that line, on these two straight lines, I'm going to draw these curves to make a concentric, or it pulls away this ellipse, this challenge of the ellipse. I'm right-handed, as you know. I'm going to go to the left of this line. I'm going to make a mark there. Do you see? I've just notched that mark, and I can proportion that the other side. Something like that. That's even. Look, even either side. And I'm going to call that the major axis. That's the major axis of this concentric circle, that becoming ellipse that's in front of us. And above that, I'm going to do that once again, but it's much shorter. It's all approximate. I'm not measuring. I'm just going to approximate that, and I'm going to do the same. So. And it's about there. There we have it. Now, those points are reference points which I'm going to join, and I'm going to do that in this way. You can practice this. Look, can we see that? How I've made that arc there. And what I want to do is mirror that arc on this side, on this right side. Oi, something like that. And I'm going to do the same here in the foreground. I'm going to pull it to this mark here. How good is that? And I'll arc it around there. Now, look, what's going on here? Well, it looks like some sort of rugby ball. This sort of squashed oval. But it's the start of my consideration of this ellipse, this jar. Okay, now this might take a few attempts. I'm turning the pencil, this HB pencil. I'm going to just start to, as I'm happier with this line here, I'm going to just start to take the line there, take it back this way. I can start to use my eraser. I might even rub out some of these construction lines now. And it's just helping me guide and see this ellipse in its entirety. It's got a rim. The jar has a rim, so I've got to draw another ellipse inside that one there, and it's going to sort of disappear thus. No harm in trying that also. And with a little bit of practice and attempt, you will manage an elliptical shape. If I go now to the left of that shape and pull a line down and another line down parallel with that, almost parallel. And remember, I've got my axis, my main line of construction in the centre there to help me. That's going to help me greatly, isn't it? In finding and realising a sort of beaker shape, this idea of the glass jar. And yes, we need another ellipse. We need the base of this jar also visible. Look at that. And it will follow, for some of you, that you'll have water inside. Some of you are deciding to put some water inside, and it's transparent, so I'll see the other side of that liquid, water. And there's all the other things happening. Some of your jars and glasses will have maybe fluting. This jar here has a shoulder. So from this point, this is the ellipse I've just drawn really. Then I've got to draw this neck. There's this shoulder here of this jar, its neck and its opening. So it involves even a third, fourth ellipse. So that will happen. That will naturally happen in the study of your vessel, your chosen vessel subject for this drawing. So a little bit of a warm-up, have a go, make up some ellipses. Once you're confident with ellipses, we'll have a look at the drawing. Right, so next stage. You can see here I've made the preparatory drawing with pencil, HB pencil, and I might just clean it up a little bit and rub it down. I don't want it too heavy because we're going to overlay next with the biro. Now, as I said before, mentioned before, you may like to go freestyle. You may like to just go straight in with the biro. Fine. To tell you the truth, that's how I approach these drawings. I'm not a biro artist per se. You can have a look. There's many I say biro, I should say ballpoint pen artists. You can look them up all day long on the internet. There's some amazing work they do. This isn't my real medium. However, I always find myself working with biro. Look, so I would clean the drawing up. You only want a few lines, and you can see the ellipses. Hence that go back and revise that tutorial of ellipse, that first part of our tutorial about ellipses. But you want to center it, and the last thing is look at the scale. Look at my hand; it's nicely centered in the page. If I get one of the fork is life size. So I'd like your drawing, if possible, try to get it as life-size as you can. You don't want anything too bitty and too small, and better to express ourselves with this drawing with the ballpoint. So keep it to scale. That's a tip for you. Okay.